Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Noel and I review and unbox subscription boxes here on my channel, and today I have a book box that was sent to me for review. It is also the book box that we chose to use for our Q4 book club. So we have a book club in the No-Bot Nook, which we call the Book Nook. I know a lot of terminology going on there. And every quarter we are led by our amazing Priscilla, book club leader, through reading a novel. And we usually vote on novels. We'll select a book box, and it does have to be a box that I review here on the channel, and usually a box that does include more than just the book itself. So there's some reasons we haven't used other boxes in the past, but we vote on the titles, and then we do usually a month-long read of that novel where we will have little discussions over in the Facebook group once a week, and then finally we'll have a live stream discussion. So I believe that the live stream discussion for our book of the quarter, Swiss Vendetta from the Wordy Traveler, that should be this evening or maybe tomorrow night, just depends. We haven't totally nailed that down, but you are welcome to join us and just see. A lot of the times we get to enjoy some of the recipes or items from inside of the box. You do not have to be a subscriber of the box that we choose for that quarter to participate in the book club. However, you can get a hold of that title is fine. I know some people use audiobooks, but let's talk about the Wordy Traveler. That said, I have finished the book, but it was very much a murder mystery, and I totally need to go back and read again with new eyes. Sometimes there's those really good twisty murder mysteries where you're like, oh, and there were a lot of revelations in this one where I think I would be well served to go back and either listen to the audiobook, which might be fun, or just to reread it and see the hints that I missed along the way. So Swiss Vendetta, of course, is taking place in Switzerland, and that's what the Wordy Traveler is all about, is taking you on a cultural journey as well as a reading journey. So they have a lot of different options. First of all, I want to let you know that you can use the code Noel to save $20, but I will also leave an affiliate link for you in the description box below. It is a quarterly box, and there are a lot of options. So if you just want 2 books, you have the option of doing 1 fiction and 1 nonfiction, or 2 nonfiction or 2 fiction. And that is going to be $79 per quarter. It's always going to include a coffee and a tea and a postcard, a charm, one sort of hero item that goes along with that destination. Again, this is for Switzerland. Last quarter was Mexico. It was fantastic. There's also an option for 4 books, and that is $139 per quarter. You can do 2 fiction or 2 nonfiction, and that's basically coming down to $30 per additional book. And then finally, there is the 6 book option, and again, it's an equal split where it's going to be 3 fiction and 3 nonfiction. So the only one where you really get to customize the mixture is going to be in the quarterly subscription for 2 books. But for 4 books and 6 books, it's split down the middle between fiction and nonfiction. Obviously, if you do the annual, you save quite a bit because it includes the shipping right up front. So basically $316 for the year for the 2 book option, $556 for the year for the 4 book option, and $676 per year for the 6 book option. But I'll leave all of those details for you in the description box below. You get that lovely box there. But so the destination inspired books, obviously. So Switzerland, so we had Swiss Vendetta. Usually they send me a fiction and a nonfiction. They were so kind to work with us. Again, thank you to Anne and Joe. And I gave them the list of the people who were planning to purchase the box or who were already subscribers of the Wordy Traveler to make sure they all got this as a title. Otherwise, it's pretty random. They have like 5 or 6 fiction titles. They have 5 or 6 nonfiction titles for the quarter, and then they'll just select which ones go into your box. So again, we get a destination inspired postcard as well. I thought this one for Switzerland was really cool. Full-size souvenir, like I said, or lifestyle item, a custom bookmark, a keepsake charm, and then, of course, the destination loose leaf tea and ground coffee. They also have a really cool passport, and they include that in your first box. And then there's a little sticker that's like your stamp for that destination each quarter. Let's see if I can get this to open up. Oh man, I have another one that I already have my stamps in, but it's really nice that they send this one to me so that I can actually show it to you each time. It's pretty cool, right? It really looks like an actual passport, which nowadays when we don't get to have as many stamps in our passports, I think this is a really cool way of doing it. So I think that's a neat way of engendering some loyalty among subscribers as well. So let's go ahead and take a look. We got the cute postcard. We have some Matterhorn coffee. Love that. The morning roast. That's also a great poster image. And then for our tea, we got Swiss Alpine Meadow tea. So lovely, right? I like the idea. Perfect to have both coffee and tea in a book box when you can tuck into your read. And Switzerland honestly seemed like a really good option for the winter box. Here's kind of our swag bag, and I can kind of hear a lot of stuff going on in there. So let me be careful as I empty it into my hand. We had a little breakage there. Okay, so here is a really cool little keychain with a Swiss bell on it there, right? It makes me think of like cows out in the pastures, out in the meadows, the hills are alive sort of thing. Here is our sticker for our passport. That's a really nice one. It doesn't actually, like, passport stamps are kind of boring. And then here is our custom bookmark, which this one is very pretty. It's a metal bookmark. Isn't that lovely? And then it's got this little Swiss flag, like kind of bouncing around on the end. It's very thin too, which is nice. So there is, I'm guessing that's the Matterhorn. And then they also included some Lindt Swiss chocolates, which I thought was a nice little touch. Not something that's always guaranteed, but we can't do a box about Switzerland without having some Swiss chocolates. Actually, you guys, let's have a secret password. So when you come across a secret password in one of my videos, you want to enter it along with your contact information in the Google form that's linked for you in the description box below. Please don't put it into the comments themselves, because then it's not a secret anymore. You have to be 18 years or older. You have to be subscribed to my channel. And of course, you do have to have a US mailing address to receive a mystery box. Canadians, you can absolutely participate, but I'll be sending you like a little gift card through PayPal or something instead. It's just too costly and time consuming to work with customs right now. But hopefully in the future, I'll be able to include my Canadian viewers as well once again. But the secret password for today is going to be chocolate, in honor of the Swiss chocolate that we got in here. And just as a reminder, it's not affiliated with any of the boxes that I open here on the channel. It's just my way of saying thank you. And about 5 days into the following month, so that's going to be January, I will use a random number picker to select a few winners to receive mystery boxes as my way of saying thank you. They're filled with all kinds of goodies from the different boxes that I receive for review, as well as the ones that I purchased for here on the channel. All right. So that was kind of all of our, like, you know, stuff that we always get. We get the coffee, we get the tea, we get the bookmark, we get our stamp for our passport, we get the postcard, little extras, right? Like the chocolates and this fun little bell keychain, little bag tag, so that you can find, you can put it on your kid or something, so you can always find them. And then we got our 2 books. So like I said, I got Swiss Vendetta, which we'll talk about in the discussion. I'm not going to talk about the plot so much, but I might read the blurb for you. And then they actually sent me a second fiction book this time instead of a nonfiction, which I do see. I like nonfiction, and so when it comes to a destination box, I see how a nonfiction book might actually be a little bit more of a full immersion experience. I know some people absolutely love the 6 books option, because then they have both a fiction and a nonfiction book, one for each month of the quarter, and that also seems like a really cool way to like immerse yourself in a destination. But this was one of the other titles that they told us was an option, so we voted on the options that we knew they were going to have. And so I'm kind of excited to get this novel, because it was also like one of my choices, one of my top choices. So Eva Traub Abrams, a semi-retired librarian in Florida, is at the returns desk one morning when her eyes lock onto a photograph in a newspaper nearby. She freezes. It's an image of a book she hasn't seen in 65 years, a book she recognizes as the Book of Lost Names. The accompanying article describes the looting of libraries across Europe by the Nazis during World War II, an experience Ava remembers all too well. As a graduate student in 1942, Ava was forced to flee Paris after the arrest of her father, a Polish Jew. Finding refuge in a small mountain town in the Free Zone, she begins forging identity documents for Jewish children fleeing to neutral Switzerland. But erasing people comes with a price, and along with a mysterious, handsome forger named Remy, Ava decides she must find a way to preserve the real names of the children who are too young to remember who they really are. The records they keep in the Book of Lost Names will become even more vital when the resistance cell they work with is betrayed, and Remy, probably Remy, but I think it's Remy. Remy disappears. As the Germans close in, Ava records a last vital message in the book. Decades later, does she have the strength to seek out its answer and help reunite those lost during the war? So some people thought it might be a little bit too heavy because it is World War II, and you know, fleeing Jews and children involved. They thought it might be a little bit too heavy for our book read, but I thought it sounded like a good historical fiction kind of thing, so I'm excited to read it. Let me go ahead and read you the blurb for the Swiss Vendetta, and then we will take a look at our full-size souvenir. All right, so it was a good mystery. There were some surprises in there. Inspector Agnes Butti, a Swiss-American police officer in Lausanne, Switzerland, has just transferred to the Violent Crimes Unit. Now on the eve of the worst blizzard Lausanne has seen in centuries, Agnes has been called to investigate her very first homicide. On the lawn of the Grand Chateau Vallotton, a young woman was stabbed to death. The woman, an appraiser for a London auction house, has been taking inventory at the chateau, a medieval fortress dripping in priceless works of art and historical treasures. Agnes finds it difficult to draw answers out of anyone. The tight-lipped Swiss family living in the chateau, the loyal servants, and the aging World War II survivor who lives in the neighboring mansion, even the students studying at the chateau's library. As the storm rages on, roads become impassable. The power goes out around Lausanne, and Agnes finds herself trapped in the candlelit halls of the chateau with all the players of the mystery, out of her depth and struggling to stay afloat in her first murder case. Tracy DeHaan's mesmerizing debut is an emotionally complex, brilliantly plotted mystery set against the beautiful but harsh backdrop of a Swiss winter. So I hadn't read the blurb. I don't know how I didn't manage to read the blurb, but I didn't realize that it was her debut, which is all the more impressive. And it was kind of funny because we didn't choose this one because some people didn't want a World War II themed book, and yet there was quite a bit of World War II and even Nazis in this book, oddly enough. And then of course Agnes, she's a likable main character. I found her likable. She has her own issues going on besides being a first-time investigator. She used to do like financial crimes, and so this is like the first time she gets this crazy like locked room murder mystery at this beautiful chateau with like, you know, I kind of forgot because it was this sort of like landed gentry situation. I almost forgot that it was like modern times, like until they would remind us that like there were missing cell phones, especially because there was like no electricity and they were still creating all these amazing meals. And so sometimes I kind of forgot that it was like a modern day story, but I did have some twists, which you guys know I do love a thriller, and so the fact that there were some surprises made me very, very happy. But we'll talk a little bit more about it in the discussion, the live stream with me and Priscilla, and of course you can join on the chat. You can always watch later on as well, but it's more fun if you happen to be there. So usually those are around 5 or 6 p.m. Pacific, so that it's not too late for our East Coast friends. But hopefully it will encourage you to check out this book, check out this box, but maybe join our book club for next year. So let's take a look at our full-size item. So giving you a little sneak peek in the unboxing situation. I always like to try to unbox things with styrofoam over my desk because otherwise the little styrofoam pearls tend to go everywhere, which is the case no matter what. I thought this was really cute. I don't think they actually have like a list. Usually there's a list of items that are included on like a card, but I don't see that this time around. Maybe they didn't send one. I actually got 2 postcards and not the list of the contents, but that's okay. I think the last time we had like a long card that told us the list of the items, but this is pretty self-explanatory. We got like a little mini fondue set. So here is a little tea candle that they did include in that envelope, which was like really nice to include the tea candle so you could take advantage of it right away and not have to go find one. A nice like ceramic ramekin, and then of course you can put that right here. And then we have 2 little sets of tongs. It's like a little mini campfire. Honestly, it's so cute. So I think this would be adorable. You could do a classic fondue with cheese, of course, or like some like raclette, or of course you could do this for any of your like warm dips that you're gonna have for the holidays. So it seemed like a really awesome item for, again, a winter box. Of course, you could do dipping chocolate and have these little skewers. I thought these were so cute. So our book queen, Priscilla, she showed us in one of our discussions, she and her husband actually used this to make a proper fondue. So I always think that's awesome when we get to use the items that are in the box. I don't usually get to use the items because I have to do the unboxing a little bit later. And again, this box was sent to me for a review, but I'm very excited to get to talk to you all about this box in that review or in that discussion. I thought it was pretty good, like especially for a debut novel. So I'm very curious to see. At one point during the discussion, we were kind of like, you know, there were so many, like, is this a red herring? Is this person still a suspect? So, like, there were a lot of suspects in the beginning, but then people were starting to think if there was going to be a sequel or a series. So maybe there is. Maybe there's more adventures for Agnes in the future. Let me know what you thought in the comments below about the box and the book, and I'll see you soon in my next unboxing.